tons of transactions with them. And, so I have clients that are on Facebook, constantly trying to get me a business. I have a listing appointment tomorrow that, came from that. I just got told I was gonna get a listing from, and I have one that's retired. She has nothing but to promote me on social media. It's so funny, but I really just, their house was on the market for 9 months before I got it last year. And I came in, made some changes, staged it and sold it. And, just showed them that there is a different way to be a realtor. And when I talk to people, I say, I'm not your average realtor. So I have a process called the prep stage sell. So I have this is my little folder, my listing presentation. And so I really go in and people want to be told what to do. They want a list of things. They want you to make it easy. And I can walk into certain listings with certain agents and know that it's going to be a great showing because I know they prepare their clients to sell well and prepare them. And I can walk into some houses and I take my business card and I say, you need me, call me. And I put the card down on the table, hoping maybe they'll wake up and think that, man, I really need more direction because, I'm stepping over cat puke or, underwear and the lights aren't on. And so I really, really handhold them and tell them how it's going to be. So I basically go in on the prep side of things, and some houses need a little bit, some don't need any. I kind of talk to them about, do you have a budget that you want to work from? Tell me what your budget is, and I'll work within those parameters and do the most important things. And so then I go through and I use a system called Company Cam. It's an app you can download. It can get a little pricey. There is a free version of it. And there's other programs that are similar to it, but I can literally walk through and take pictures of everything wrong with the house. And then I put a little description under it, and then I can print off the PDF. And of course, they don't get this whole list until they sign the listing agreement. So I kind of dangle that little carrot to say, once you decide that you're going to list with me, I'm going to go room by room with you and talk to you about what I need you to do to get the house ready for top dollar, what I feel is going to kill the deal during inspection, and proper furniture placement. And then I have a 3,000 square foot warehouse and filled with furniture. I have a moving truck. And so I come in and then I stage it for free. I don't charge anything. I've been doing that since 2017. I started doing light staging where, my ex-husband, he would come home, he'd like, where's our mirror? We'll get it back. I'll sell it fast, I promise. And so I'm taking stuff out of my own house. And then I had a storage unit, outdoor storage unit. I was starting to build inventory. And then I got a really big warehouse. And then my neighbor at the warehouse moved out and I punched a hole in the wall and expanded into that other side. And so then I realized that the cost of doing business with me was more expensive. So I started probably 5 years ago charging the FMLS fee back to my clients. So my clients pay me 3%, 3.12%. So they ask, what's your fee? Mine's 3.12%.
Okay,
And
hold on a second, because everybody's like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
What did she say? She charges her clients FMLS fee. And how do you justify doing that?
So I just say, well, it's just an MLS fee that we have to pay. It's 0.0012% of the purchase price. So it's a couple $100 at closing. And they're like, okay. I've only had 2 and they were previously listed and the other agent didn't charge them. So I said, I don't know if I can waive that. Let me call my broker and see if I can get it waived. And then I call him back and say, you know what? He said that I could actually, waive half of it. Does that work for you? And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's wonderful. But you want to know how much money it put back in my pocket with these numbers? Do the calculation. About $60,000 back in my pocket every year. So I upgraded my car that year. So I said, out there is my FMLS fee right there sitting in the driveway. So it's just a way I've kind of fine-tuned it to kind of help me offset expenses because I do spend a lot on marketing and stuff like that too. So once I go through the prep side of things, I have this list and I call it my wish list to them. And I say, these are the things that I think need to be done to pass inspection. And I talk about contract fallout because right now I think nationwide it's like 45% that contracts are falling through. So I'm putting the fear of God in them that they've got to get it right because buyers want more done. They want houses move-in ready. They're paying top dollar, higher interest rates. They're having to pay all their own closing costs. They don't want to lift a finger. So I've been doubling down trying to make my houses even better than I have been in the past. And so I'm telling them, hey, we can list it, but it's gonna be a challenge. And I don't want you to have a contract fall through, because I'll tell you what, if I'm on the other side of the table selling your house and I'm working with a buyer, I'm looking at days on market, how many contracts have they lost? And when I take that data, I'm hitting hard on the price that I'm offering, and then I'm hitting them even harder on inspection. So the worst thing you can do for your client is to let a contract fall through. So I really work hard to have it room by room and have it organized so they can make sense of it. And then I bring in the contractors. If you guys don't have a contractor for every aspect of a home, you are really not doing your job.
Just unfamiliar, when I tell you guys to partner with your vendor partners and your allied partners, find partners that you can call anytime to help support you.
My main contractor is so busy, I like literally wear him out. He's like, "You're killing me." And so his truck kept broken down and he couldn't show up to my listings. And I'm on a tight timeline, you know, I got to get these things done. So I actually called him up and I said, "Ivan, meet me at Marietta Truck Sales." He's like, "What?" I said, "Meet me there." He's like, "Okay." I said, here's a van. Put all your tools in it and I'll see you at the next house." He's like, I was like, "We'll barter." He's like, "Okay." So now he has a reliable vehicle. I get a write-off. And you know, if you buy a truck or a van or an SUV, you know, you get a big write-off every year. So you can buy one, probably about one a year, and you can have a big write-off. So it doesn't really cost me anything to get him that vehicle so he can be there and he has all of his tools in it. And you know, he's sick right now. He's been busting his tail, and so he's sick. And so I Instacarted a bunch of groceries and medicines and Gatorade to him yesterday. And my brother was like, "I'm so impressed. You really take good care of your people." And so I said, "Well, they take good care
I
of
was
me
gonna say, they
too."
take
Yeah.
good care of you.
Yeah. So, you know, I have a flooring guy, I have a foundation guy, I have a mold guy, I have an insulation guy. I have everything I possibly could need. So I tell my clients, "Hey, you don't have to stress about getting your house ready. I'm going to do all of that. I'm going to bring the right people in. They aren't going to break the bank. I'm going to coordinate everything that needs to be done. And I'm going to give you the list." And they're going,
Yeah.
you know, because what they're thinking about is where the heck are they going and how am I going to have time to pack? And so because I make it so easy on them and take care of everything, that they don't, it really takes that stress off of them. And that's why a lot of times I do win. And then the staging aspect, they love to stage. I have houses that, I had one in Canton that didn't even need staging. It looked like a model home. And she's like, "Are you bringing your stager?" I'm like, "I don't think you really need." Well, I was really hoping, and some people just want to say, "Oh, my stage, the agent's sending the stager to my house. They're gonna stage my
It was
house."
so special.
And I called my stager. I'm like, "There is absolutely nothing for you to do in this house. Just go in there and just shift around her furniture in the family room. And tell her it's good." And so that's what she had to do, just to appease this lady. And so it was like, and
Like, I said, "It looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much."
yeah, and if you don't have a stager, the best thing you can do is find a stay-at-home mom that loves design, loves interior design, or has an interior design background and decided not to do anything with it, or maybe is doing interior decorating on the side of being a mom. Those are your best ones. And call her your stager, put her on your roster. And I've had the same stager since 2017, and I recently just made a move and got a new one because I realized I was overpaying her. And so this is my little team. And so I have everybody on here, whether it's my closing coordinator, I have a listing manager. So once I set a listing appointment, I made a website for myself to be more consistent, because now I'm 48. My brain does not work as good as it used to in the 30s. I went to the doctor. I'm like, "I think I've got dementia." He goes, "No, you're not in your 30s anymore, and you need to take some things off your plate." And so I made a decision. I used to have a team years ago, and I got rid of my team, went back to being a solo agent just to kind of lighten my load. But anytime I get a listing appointment, I'm driving down the car, I pull the car over, I go onto my website. You guys can look at the website, it's lindseyhaas.com. And I have on there all these little entry things that my clients also use to enter all the information about their house, and my closing coordinator uses. But I literally click on that new listing appointment and put all the information in, and then it gets directly sent to her. She adds it to my calendar, and she starts the process of pulling everything I need for my listing appointment. So all I have to do is hit print, pull my comps, and I'm out the door. And so she's a big help, and she works, you know, from home. I pay her per listing. So I have a fee that I pay her when I get the listing appointment, and then I have a fee if I actually get the listing and she ends up putting it in the system. Because then she has a task list of all those things to do too. And then I have a marketing assistant and showing agent. And then I have a warehouse manager. I have my staging crew, and the movers, you know, are just people, a guy that does logistics for Amazon and he runs his own business and he's just very available. And so he's a big part of my success. And then I have my stagers on here. Then I have my listing, I call it pre-listing and post-inspection coordination. So Ivan, you know, once they go through inspection, you know, there's gonna be a list of things that have to be done. He also helps with those things as well.
Ivan's got a little job title. I love that.
And I took a headshot, which he was not real fond of. And then I have, you know, my home inspectors on here. So older homes, if the house is built prior to 1995, I'm making all my sellers do home inspections because I want to know, you know, I don't understand these agents that say, oh, don't send me the inspection report. I don't want to know about it. Really? Why would you not want to know about it? Because the next contract that comes through is going to have the same issues and terminate over the same problems. So you should know what's going on in your client's house so you can get those things fixed and prepare them for success the next time. So that is a problem I have with agents telling me not to send an inspection report. And I don't care because I'm going to send it to you. You're going to get it anyways because you need to know. And disclosure is being honest. You know, integrity is on the wall and, you know, disclosing things. And I have contracts that fall through and things come up. We go back in and update the seller's disclosure because not only does that protect you, but it also protects your client. And then I have my, you know, photographer on here too. And I also have like my closing attorney. I also have an appraiser in here.
Is this your listing presentation?
Yeah, I'm going to show you that other one because, you know, I've actually gotten deals because of my team and my closing attorney doesn't work for me. I also do a net sheet for them too. This is a big thing that a lot of agents don't do is showing them what they're going to get at the closing table because people sometimes just can't make sense of it, especially if they haven't sold a house in 30 years. So, so I help them formulate what they're going to get. Where is that? There it is. So I have my appraiser on here and I have real estate attorney and skilled title expert. So the reason I have the appraiser on there is because if I have an appraisal issue, you know, I send it to her and pay her a small fee to look it over and find out where the loopholes are, where are the errors. And then she helps me write the rebuttal. I send that rebuttal back to the lender and say, Mr. Lender, I appreciate you sending me this appraisal that's $20,000 below our purchase price, but there's a lot of errors on here that need to take place and get corrected and give us the value that we deserve. I tell my clients I can't tell you 100% of the time I get the value up. I do get about 75% of the time I get the value up somewhat. Hardly ever do I get it to exactly where we want it to be. But when I can call them and say, and they don't even know about these appraisal issues until I've exhausted all measures. And this is where I really work hard to exceed those expectations. So they know that I'm fighting. They want to know that you're going to take care of them and they want to know that you're going to fight for them. And so when I call my clients and I say, well, the appraisal came in $20,000 low, but I drank 3 bottles of wine by myself and I haven't slept in 4 days. And now the difference is $5,000. And I got the buyer to agree to contribute $2,500 of that. Now, if I called you and told you that I did that for you, would you be impressed? So that's where I really try to exceed expectations and I have the people in place to help me make that happen. So I used to write, yes, I used to write the rebuttals and she said, you're too emotional. I'm like, oh, I'm pissed off. I priced this thing right. I had 4 offers. This is ridiculous because it's all an opinion of value. Actually, when I refinanced my house in 2019, the appraiser gave me the value that I needed. And I told the lender, great, order me another one. She's like, what? Why? I said, I want to do some scientific research and I want it on my own house. She's like, okay, throw away $600, fine by me. And I'm going to write it off. Don't worry. And so appraiser comes back through. You know, my house appraised $16,000 apart in the same week, 1 female appraiser and 1 male appraiser. So female appraisers are the worst, I'll be honest. They're always low. But I also set my clients up for success and I tell them I have an appraisal process that I'm going to put you through that's going to help you ensure that you are successful through this process. And they're like, oh, what is it? Well, I can't tell you because until you sign the listing agreement, I can't give you all my secrets. And then I make them take the day off of work, the day that the appraiser comes. And let me tell you what, when those appraisers call to make the appointments, do not change your appointment time. And I tell my clients ahead of time because every happy client has their expectations set before something happens. So I tell them, hey, when the appraiser calls, they're gonna come in 24 to 48 hours from that call. I cannot move that appointment because they're gonna be able to know that they can get in with the Supra. You don't have to be there, but I want you to be there. You're gonna have to take the day off of work and you have to be there because this is your money, not mine. And they're like, okay, we'll do this. We'll be there. And then I've had situations where, there wasn't a seller in town, or one was an orthodontist and she couldn't get off work. And so sometimes I'll like take the lockbox off and say it was malfunctioning, that they can't get in without me there, if I have to meet them there. But I had the orthodontist actually, made cookies, and I had her make cookies and wrap them in plastic on a paper plate and waters and leave a handwritten note to the appraiser. And he wrote her a note back and said, no one in my 25 years of appraising properties have ever done such a nice gesture. And by God, we appraised. And I was pretty certain we wouldn't. So the appraisal process is I make them be present, and I tell them what I say. I'm going to tell you what I want you to say and what I want you not to say. And they're like, oh, okay. And so these appraisers don't know that I'm kind of coaching them, and all I'm doing is making it personal, telling them a little bit about what they're looking to do, what their goals are, how many offers did we get on the house. I want that appraiser to know that that was a hot property. Or I want the appraiser to know that their mom's dying of cancer and they need to move closer to their mom. Or they need to move closer to their kids because they're getting older. And when you tug on the heartstrings of those appraisers, they're gonna work a little bit harder and maybe work a little bit longer to make sure that that house appraises. Because again, the worst thing you can do for your client is to have a deal fall through, because their property is stigmatized then, and they'll end up with a lower offer the next time around.
What are some things that you coach them on to tell them not to say?
What is my house worth? Oh, that really ticks off the appraisers. Don't ask them that. They're not ready to answer that question. Don't tell them you're the best house in the neighborhood. Don't tell them you're the best lot in the neighborhood. And the only thing they care about is what improvements you've done in the last 5 years. So you can put a list together and say, hey, here's all the things we've put into our house the last 5 years. If you care to know, we kind of just throw it out there. And I never hand them comps. I have agents that have done that on my buyer deals. I'm like, go for it. It's going to help me out, because you're going to tick off the appraiser. You don't need to tell them how to do their job. But what you need to do is connect with them on a personal level. And we actually go and look up the appraiser and see if we can find information on them. And I've had one that was a Georgia fan, or one that had grandchildren, and then
Like how we stalk agents or stalk each other? No
So they-
different.
I make sure that they find common ground. And I tell them that they never park in the driveway. And so when they come in, they now announce that they're there. They'll either go around and measure and take pictures of the outside, or they'll start inside. But when they get done, they're gonna probably announce to you that they're done. And then I want you to walk them to their car, because you're gonna have more face time with them, because most of the time they're not parked in the driveway. I mean, I got this down to a science. And I had an agent call me and they're like, how do you not have any deals fall through from appraisal? And I said, well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. So, I really think of all aspects of the transaction to make sure I do not want to have a deal fall through. And then, they just kind of talk to them in the beginning and say, oh my gosh, we're so excited. We had 5 offers on the house. I can't believe this is going through so fast. We're so excited because my daughter's about to have a grandbaby and we're going to move closer to her. And this is all just coming together perfectly. And we appreciate you being here, and let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to stay out of your way. Offer them something to drink. I make them drive to the gas station the night before their appraisal and get a Sprite, Coke, and a water, and then have hot coffee ready. And most of the time they don't ever ask for the coffee, but we give them a water or a Sprite or something, because this is a very lonely profession. So these appraisers are constantly going into properties, not having interactions with people. They're going into vacant properties. And then they meet my wonderful seller that's so sweet, and offering them something to drink or cookies. And they just have that connection. So I said, I want that appraiser to walk out of your house, your new best friend. And we're not,
memorable.
because when the appraiser sends that off to the lender, and the lender comes back and says, some appraiser in Chicago is overlooking all their work and says, why did you use this comp that was 1.5 miles away when you could have used this comp that was less than 1 mile? It's up to that appraiser to fight to keep that other comp in there that's going to help us get our number. So we want him to like you, remember you, and want to do a good job for you.
And so I just want to add to that, a lot of stuff that she's saying, because we have a lot of new agents in the room. All of this is just standards and managing expectations and isn't, because I know that for some of y'all, you see all those, are like, well, she's been doing it 19 years and she's got all this leverage now. Some of the stuff she's talking about is stuff that just being a great agent doesn't define how many years you've been doing this or what your fund or your pockets look like. And so I think that's just something to remember, that all levels in the room, because you're at a super high level now,
Yeah, I
doing
still
all of
do
this, yeah, you would do that regardless.
Yeah, because it's my income. I'm protecting my income too. I don't want the deal to fall through.
Mhm.
And if their house sells for less, then I make less money. And what if we never get another offer? Then I don't get paid. So it's really in my best interest to make sure this goes very smoothly. And I, and people that have sold houses before, they're like, I've actually gone on my listing appointments, and I went on one recently, and she said, wow, this is like we've interviewed 3 other agents, and like, this is the most like information we've received. And so I kind of go over everything. Of course, the appraisal aspect of I'm not doing until until they sign a listing agreement.
Mhm.
And then the night before the appraisal, I'm coaching them on what I want them to say. And also the stay-at-home moms, I'm like, okay, tomorrow you got to get up, shower, get some makeup on, no pajamas,
Break it out of your stretch pants.
open the blinds, oh, yes, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna get everything ready, I'm gonna get showered, I'm gonna put a nice dress on, I want them to look presentable, because it's awkward for an appraiser to come in with a stay-at-home mom that has no bra on and, is in her pajamas. So, we're trying to look at the whole big picture. It really does make a big difference.
Yeah, how you present. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do the prep, the stage, I guide them on the appraisal aspect of it. And then, I make them realize that also I really know my stuff too. So I'm setting the expectations, and, my closing coordinator sends all the important dates, and she's in touch with the lenders and the attorneys on a regular basis. And I do not let them pack a thing. They can pack closets and unfinished basements until we're through the appraisal. I want that house to be in the same condition as the buyers are seeing it for the appraiser. And then I tell them, once the appraisal's complete, then you can pack up and I'll come and get all my stuff. But none of that happens until the appraisal is complete.
Okay. Anybody have any questions so far?
I have one.
Yeah.
How long do you take to do your listing presentation?
Hour and a half to 2 hours. I've been in some for 3. I had an agent tell me, oh, I'm in and out of my appointments in 30 minutes. I'm like, how? That's impossible. So I really connect with people. And I stay, I really connect with people and stay in touch with them even years later. They know they can call and depend on me. And, I had one recently that popped in my head, and I was like, I haven't talked to them in forever. And they've done like 6 transactions with me. And I called them and I said, hey, I was just thinking about you. And I don't know. I just wanted to check on you. They're like, oh, that's so funny. We just sold our house. I'm like, oh,
How dare you?
what? Can I just ask why you wouldn't give me an opportunity to help you again? They're like, oh, Lindsay, it is just crazy. She's like, I did a garage sale and somebody bought it. Oh. Okay, so they didn't have agents on either side. So the neighbor's mother bought her house. It was a ranch, and my clients are moving to Italy.
That's
Like, that's how well connected I am with my clients. Cause like, I didn't see anything on Facebook, nothing on there. I don't even think they're on Facebook anymore. Facebook's my biggest moneymaker though of my business. Cause I really, pay attention to what's going on in their lives. Like I have, one had a
Can you,
baby.
can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah,
the
so I
Facebook
had
aspect
one,
of it.
I just had 2 deals last year from the fact that my client had a baby. And I just sent them a message and said, congrats on the baby. I just saw it on Facebook. How exciting. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, you got us the perfect house for that. And so I sent her went to Target and bought a cute little outfit, which I truly enjoy buying stuff like that. I don't get to do that anymore. My kids are 11 and 16. And I bought her little, it's cost me $30 and I shipped it off in the mail. And she posted a picture of it. It says, when you have the best realtor, they don't forget you. And so, somebody that their parent passes away, I've sent flowers. Their husband passes away, I send flowers and just call them and see how they're doing. I had one that called me from Tennessee. They had moved out of state and they were the most wonderful couple. And she got my newsletter and she called me. She's like, I just wanted to call and tell you that he passed away. I got your newsletter and I just didn't think you knew. And I haven't talked to them in probably 7 years, really, just up on social media. And it was really touching that she called me to tell me that he had passed. So,
Well, on the Facebook thing, because we're talking about doing Facebook ads and, you have to spend money to do that. you've mastered being on Facebook and not having to spend money on ads.
Yeah.
It's just by communicating with people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like the clients are already there. Are you communicating with the people that are already on Facebook? You don't have to spend money to get leads on there. So I think that's a big.
Yeah, my marketing gal comes in every morning and messages everyone on Facebook that has a birthday. Happy birthday. Hope you have a wonderful day. And so I'm getting all these messages,
Thank you,
from-
thank you.
thank you, or hey, how are you doing? And then I respond. But at least she's starting that conversation. And some people, I mean, she's messaging everybody on my Facebook. I don't even know if some of them are, but they're getting my
Mhm.
messages.
But for people who don't have somebody that can do that, that's part of your lead gen in the morning, right? Or how are you lead
Yep.
genning that way? So just add that to your lead gen process, on how you're communicating with
I
people.
say
on social
Facebook,
media.
and Facebook is the billboard in the hands of buyers for free, and I can touch them every day through that.
Would you, say do like a call to action? Like, I have people on Facebook that share my stuff like all the time, but it's like this small little group of people. Like, how would you get like, if I look at my friend following that, how many people like follow me? And I'm like, I should be getting a lot more traction as far as like, are y'all gonna help me out or what? So how would you say to like get like a call to action type thing to get?
For them to
people-
refer business to you.
Yeah, or just like share your marketing stuff, like.
So especially when I was new, I faked it till I made it. And so there was times where I didn't have any business. There was times where, when I first started in this, that I couldn't even go show houses because I didn't have gas money. And then something would happen, I'd get like a rebate from a washer that I bought, and I got $300, and I forget, I got $300. I was like, oh, that's gas money.
Yeah.
Or I can buy flyers. I can print flyers now, it's like little things, and I just things like that kept happening, but, you literally have to exude positivity out of every orifice of your body, because people do not want to do business with people that are not selling or having a rough time. I've had people tell me, I chose you because your market always seems to be up. I'm like, "Why'd I fake
Why,
that
thank
one?"
you.
So when people ask me, they're like, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing great. Oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna, like, even right now. I'm in a season of my life right now that has been the most challenging of my life. I've moved both my parents and my dad's older sister, who's 84, into my home. And have been renovating. I'm adding on to it. My boyfriend had major back surgery. I got divorced in 2023, so I'm just, I don't know how the hell I've hit MREA last year, but somehow I did it. I just kept going forward, and I kept positivity. No one really knew. My poor broker does, but I call him like, I'm just gonna stop answering your question if I'm okay, okay? I'm just gonna say I'm great. So, but no one really knows that I'm going through those struggles, I really, I was showing houses, a couple weekends ago, like 2 weekends ago, and I just hit my limit. And in between every house I was crying, but my clients never knew. And so I just put on my game face, and I just keep moving forward, even when it's tough. And when the market's down, you keep moving forward. This is a tough business. It can pull the soul right out of you. But if it's all about your mental attitude and your outlook on it, because if you post about, if you don't have listings, what do? Go ask an agent, can I market your listing? I have agents call me all the time, to market my listings. I want the exposure.
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
agents market their listings, and you don't have to mention anything else. Just go and do some content. Look at this new listing we have in, Lawrenceville. Activity and positivity breeds activity. So if you want them to refer you, you got to be that person to be referred and be trusted. So I think the activity and positivity, like, man, I just showed 23. Last weekend I worked 22 hours. This weekend I worked 26 between showing houses and writing offers. 2 nights ago, I stayed up till 4 a.m. I showed 4 buyers. I wrote 5 offers. I was literally like this, trying to finish it, because the next morning I had to hit the ground running again. So I feel like this is the last hurrah of the summer selling season. So I'm just milking it right now, because I don't want to work in December. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna take this.
No way she does. Everybody takes off in December. Yeah.
So, but, then sometimes if you do that, your January and your February are gonna slack off a little bit. So I didn't do that last year. I didn't work much in November and December, because I really hit MREIA in October. And so I decided to take off, and that's how I did the extra 200, was between November and December, but I also didn't work on any new business. So my January and February were really sad. So, but you're gonna have those times.
Well, it's choices. You knew going into, if you didn't work November, December, that that next
Yeah.
60, 90 days was gonna feel different.
But and even with me selling what I'm selling, I'm on a roller coaster all the time. There's times where I'm like, oh my God, what's next month gonna bring? Oh my God. And then I'm like, oh, I wrote 5 first the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
So it's just that cycle, but you gotta,
Mhm.
the people that don't make it in this business 5 years are the ones that can't handle the mental grit that it takes to survive. Because people think, oh, you make so much money. Yeah, I make a hell of a lot of money because I work my ass off and this business drains me.
Yeah.
It does, you know. Like I had one that told me, and these are things that you have to come back with. I had one tell me, he's like, I'm really having a hard time understanding that you're gonna make money off the sale of our house, and then I'm buying this $1.3 million house, and you're gonna make a ton of money off me. And I said, Jay, do you realize something? That it is Sunday at 10 o'clock, and I'm missing church with my kids, and I'm with your family. He goes, huh, that's a really valid point. Never heard another word from him.
When people ask you, what is your unique value proposition that has gotten you where you are today, what would you say?
Taking the extra care of people and showing them that I'm gonna take care of them and I'm gonna fight for them. I will fight for $60 at the closing table. I've actually had attorneys roll their eyes at me because I made them get up from their chair and go reprint it to give my client the $60 that they deserve. They're like, we didn't really care. I'm like, that's dinner tonight. No, you're gonna care about it. Like, you know, and I show up to every closing. I had another big agent tell me, she's like, you go to your closings? She's like, I send a runner. You all know, this is where I connect the deepest with my clients, because I'm there at their walks. I go to their inspections, I go to their walkthrough, I show up at the closing, I take pictures with them, I give them a wonderful heartfelt gift. You know, to really show them that I care. I mean, I have ones that I actually ask them to bring their kids to the closing. They're like, you want us to bring the kids? I said, yes, my job is done here. I'm gonna entertain your children while you sign. And so I bring gifts for the kids, and they were just absolutely tickled. I had one recently where the son is like 6 and he's super smart. I swear he's gonna be an engineer. And he goes, Miss Lindsey, aren't you supposed to be working? I said, oh no, my job's done here. I get to play now.
I get paid today.
Yeah.
I get to play and get paid.
But it's just going to little, I go to Target or Walmart and I get them, like in the summer, I'll buy the kids like a sprinkler, you know, and a little light that shines stuff on their new. I said, I bought this for you for your new bedroom. You can shine a light on the ceiling, you know, just little things like that. And, you know, I go and buy things in bulk. So I go to Total Wine and I buy these little champagnes. They don't break the bank. They're about this big. I have branded cups. And then I buy like towels that say the city, you know, I have multiple ones that say the city, and I can literally go in my office and throw together a nice little closing gift without having to think too much about it. So I pre-plan everything.
When you go for a listing appointment and you know that they are shopping, like they've already met with 2 other people, or you know they're gonna have people after you, do you change anything that you talk about when you go in there?
The lady I'm meeting with tomorrow, she's interviewing a lot of agents, and I said, I just asked one question. She goes, what? I go, I'm gonna do a lot of preparations for our appointment. I just ask that you not make a decision until you meet with me, because I'm very different than most agents out there, and that's why I'm in the top of my game. And she's like, oh, no, I won't. I'll wait. Because how many times have you been the third one? They're like, oh, we went ahead and just made a decision.
Or they cancel because they've already made a decision on the first one, because which
And
ones
I-
do they normally pick, the first or second one?
Yep.
If you're lucky, before they choose an agent.
And, you know, if you're on a team, you need to be using those team numbers. You know, I used to have my team like go in and walk in and say, we do this, or use your office. We, they don't know, they're not asking, well, who's we? You know, we is our office. Yeah, we do a lot of business in this neighborhood. We do a lot of sales every month in this county. You know, so you have to make it till you make it, because you're not trying to screw them over or screw them out of money. You're just trying to make yourself look confident, and confidence sells everything. So it's just like with the FMLS fee. Some people are just, I had an agent that worked for me years ago, and she kept paying all this money for repairs because she wouldn't charge the FMLS fee. And I said, I want you to sit down and calculate how much money you've given away over the last 3 months. And she did. And she comes back, she goes, $9,000. I said, you've given $9,000 of your family's money, your family's income, your daughter's college tuition to people because you just weren't confident enough to say, these are the things you need to do. She would constantly say, oh, I'll take care of these repairs. Don't you worry about it. I'll take care. You know, and it's confidence is going to make them feel confident in you too.
I wanted to build on that. What do you do when they push back on the changes that you want them to pay for or make?
I have some that, you know, they can only do so much. So we talk about what's the most important things, you know, paint, light fixtures, flooring are your three most important things to do. I had one that, you know, thought they needed to do the roof. I said, well, the roof passed in, like, is the roof leaking? They're like, no, it's just kind of old. It's like 12 years old. I'm like, no, this is years ago. I said, no, because every house in your neighborhood that sold had granite countertops. You have white cabinets, white tile, and white laminate countertops. We need granite in there. I'd rather you spend the money on the granite. And so, and the roof passed inspection too. So they didn't have to do it. And those people that bought that house didn't have an agent and they called me to sell it again. So I got to sell that house twice in 5 years.
That's
The
awesome.
roof did not pass inspection the second time around.
It's a little worn out by then.
Yeah, they had to replace it, which they were fine with, but you know, you have to say, well, I'm gonna put that list together. And then I'm gonna get you a price. And then you can decide, and some people say, oh my God, I can't afford to do all that. Well, just hang on, I'm gonna get a price. And then I get the price and they're like, oh, that's it? That's it? And then we do those things. So, or I say, oh, well, we can pull back on doing some of these other things, you know, if you only have, you know, $5,000, $10,000 to work with, but you literally have to walk in with the most confidence possible I always say this too, like when I speak at different offices, American Idol, okay? This sounds really stupid, but when you listen to someone sing, like they talked about that on the show, when that singer feels that song in their soul, you feel it. And you know which ones are faking it. Like you got to feel that you are the best choice for them and you are going to take great care of them and you're going to guide them. And that these things that you have to do to your home are absolutely imperative. Now, if you want to give your house away, we can list it like it is. But I can tell you from my experience, and people go by stories, from my experience, other clients have listed their house as is, they get hit really hard on offers. And right now, buyers are expecting your house to be in move-in ready, tip-top shape.
Great.
Do you ever offer, or do your vendors offer pay to close?
Yes. Yeah, I had a client, elderly couple selling their house. House was in rough shape. They're doing $35,000 worth of repairs and all the vendors are getting paid at closing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few of those too.
So what are some of the challenges your business is facing now that you didn't see a year ago?
Well, my listings are sitting longer right now. So, but I've been in seasons where I've spent every single holiday with a seller before, 12 months.
And I did look up your days on market, like your year-to-date days on market is 26 days.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I looked it
Wow.
up. 26 days, everything's under 30
Feels like
days.
85.
Your price ranges have been in mid fives consistently over the last couple of years. You've sold over 1,000 units, as far back as I could go in the system. Your list to close price, do you know what it is? Your percentage?
List price to sell price ratio is probably really bad right now.
It's, well,
I've
up
had
through,
some real low ones.
yeah, it's 99%.
Oh.
So that tells me a lot of things. That tells me you know how to price a
People
home.
ask me this number and when potential clients ask me, I make it up, so.
Oh, yeah, no, I looked at all, no, look at all.
They can't find it.
Yeah, I don't know where to look anyway. But I
But I'm
think,
gonna use that number now.
yeah, there you go. I'll email it. I'll check. Yeah, I pulled up all your
I've
stuff.
had some that have, like I have one in Alpharetta right now that another house, the same exact floor plan sold for $830. We listed for $799 thinking we'd be sold. We got 2 offers at $760 and $750 and we did not take it. Now 2 people in the neighborhood just this month sold at $730 and $700, all similar size.
Oh.
We are absolutely screwed. And so now we're at $770 and we're gonna pull it off the market. And I'm gonna revamp the pictures and I'm gonna throw them into ChatGPT and change some colors around and maybe remove some furniture just to make it look a little bit different. Maybe I went to the backyard and had them pull out some bushes to improve, because the only negative feedback we've gotten is the backyard.
Okay.
So we pulled out a ton of bushes. I just had my landscaper, who is this little Mexican guy that does whatever I say. I just literally send him a video. Take that one, take that one, take that one, take that one. And I want you to get all this bush cleaned up and bush hog it back here. And I want you to take it all to the back of the woods and just
Dump
dump
it.
it. And he's like, because I had to get it done as cheap as possible. It was
Mhm.
like $350 and then put mulch down. and then we shot new pictures. So we're gonna pull it down, revamp it, and relist it with a brand new listing number at $750.
Awesome.
If anybody wants to, get first dibs, it's 5 4.
Yeah, we're like, here's the address.
But we're, and I have my challenges, I had one in Ackworth and Brookstone that's absolutely gorgeous for $825. We got an offer 2 days out of the gate. We went 6 days through inspection. She did her inspection. She didn't ask for anything, and then she just terminated. And she said, I need a bigger yard. I want to put a pool in now. Okay, so now I've lost 6 days and momentum. And so my sellers are, and I say every day I wake up, I feel like I'm being punched in the face, whether it's, agents sending me a tax with $35,000 worth of repairs. Or my seller saying, why is my house not selling? Are we gonna do an open house this weekend? And it's every day. And I have been tracking my open houses. I've probably done in the past year, maybe 3, 4, I think. But I have coordinated 193 open houses. So think how much business I'm bringing into the market center. Because, I have buyers that'll say, I went to the open house, I want to make an offer, great. And I let the agent that hosted the open house take that buyer because I want them to do my open houses. I don't want to do it. So I have showing agents that show houses for me. I pay $35 a door and 10% of the commission. So agents want to show houses for me too.
That's awesome.
So I'm very fair and people support me.
That little booklet that you have, like, did you come up with all that content? Did you hire, okay,
Years.
yeah, I bet, I
Feedback
bet.
from clients. This is all made on Canva. And then I have a local printer that I print it. I
Okay.
actually I used to have a hardbound one like this.
Can we pass it around? Do you care?
Hold on, wait
Okay.
a second, I'm gonna show you
That would
this.
be
This,
perfect.
this is my little booklet for my listings. So all my listings, I have my clients. I don't know if this one has one. Yeah, it does. So I put my description in here. This is the booklet. So my listing presentation used to be like this, but now it's gotten bigger over the years that I had to move to this format.
And Jordan can make all this.
And then these actually can get shipped directly to their door if I don't have time to, go pick them up. But I have the seller write a letter to the buyer as to what they've loved most about living there. And this is on display in the house and in the booklet. So it really makes the house come to life. And I've actually had agents call me. They're like, hey, you ran out of books at the open house. These cost me $7 a piece. So it's not always recommended, you could print this on paper here at the office for what, 8 cents a page or something for color.
No.
And make,
Yeah.
I don't know. You can make them and just staple them. It doesn't have to be like this if you're starting out, but have your seller write this. And some sellers don't want to because they hate their neighborhood or they're moving out because their neighbor's psycho. So sometimes they don't want to write it, but this is really helpful. And then I put all the pictures in the book. And actually I sold a cabin up in Jasper. And the first house I took her to was the best one I thought. So I made it first. And that's the one they bought, but it had one of these books. And she sat in my car for 4 days, just looking at that house. And I was like, yep, the books work. So, and I have the disclosures in there too. And then I'll pull extra information. So for example, this one has it, may not have it in there. You can pass that one around. But when people go to make offers on my houses, I have on speed dial, well, it's actually on my email, but every, county has a health department and you literally can email them and say, hey, here's the legal description or here's the address. Can you please send me the septic map? And so the worst thing you can do for your seller is to not have the septic map in the docs for the buyer to make, like the lady that wanted a pool. Thank goodness we're on sewer, but I've had this happen one time 12 years ago where they tied me up we had 12-day due diligence back then. We were tied up for 10 days. And then she's like, oh, we found out the septic fields are in the backyard and I want to put a pool in. So we're terminating. And had I had that septic map,
Ahead of
I
time.
would have never happened.
Yep.
And then this is just my, before and afters of houses. Like this was just builder grade. I'll leave this up here too. You guys can look at it. Builder grade bathroom, very boring. We just come in with a dovetail gray. And trimmed out, we had trim on the mirror, painted the cabinets. This one was a listing that didn't sell before me. I was her 4th agent. This was the picture that the agent used in the MLS.
Let me see.
It's dark.
Do better, y'all. Come
The
on.
lights aren't on. I mean, this is, I took all her furniture out because she moved in with her daughter and her husband was in a nursing home and it was costing her $6,000 a month. She was running out of money. She had owed nothing on her $450,000 house. And she literally called me. She lives in Villa Rica. I said, I'm sorry, I don't go to Villa Rica. And she got referred to me from some lady at her church that I sold their house. And she literally cried. And so I called the stager. I'm like, we're going to Villa Rica. I'll go with you. We'll make it a one-time thing, like one day. And so we had all hands on deck and we got that house staged in one day, but that was my picture. I even Photoshopped. So tell me which one looks more expensive. You know, when I show these to people, they know I pay attention to the details. Like this, they had hardly any furniture here, like, and I see people list houses like this. Like, what are you thinking? If you're doing this, you are a terrible agent. Like, do your job. This is what it needs to look like. Even if you have to rearrange the furniture and throw a couch cover or a blanket or a sheet and tuck it in at 50 million different places, there's better ways to present the house. You know, and I tell people, I'm not here to tell you that I love your curtains or I love your furniture or I love your bedspread. I'm here to say, this is what we got to do to appeal to the masses. So if you follow what I say and do the things I suggest, I promise you, you're going to sell your house. So if I say that with strong conviction, if you can walk into an appointment and use strong conviction with confidence, you will get it and you will get them to do what you want. Because again, they want to be told what to do. They want a list of things. I have, you know, a list on the refrigerator and I see my clients like marking through the list of all the things they
All their
gotta do.
action items.
Yeah. Like there's things they gotta box up and get rid of, you know, so I'll put that on the table there. And then I can leave this out too, but like photo day preparations, again, they have to be told what to do. They don't know. I walked in to show a house the other day and the people had just left. Literally, I watched them pull out of the driveway. I walk in, not one light was on. I mean, my clients are turning their lights on. I even have them prepare the house for the open house. They know before the agent comes. I said, the agent's gonna be there 15 minutes prior. I need you to have all the lights on, all the blinds open, and I want ambiance on the TV. No vocals, just music. Okay, we got it. And then the agent turns everything off. But, you know, photo day preparations, we have one for staging, we have one for open house. And also I say like during open house and showings, no cars in the driveway. No boats in the driveway, you know, like.
No trailers,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Want nothing in the driveway. You know, the pets can't be in the house, you know, and I have some clients that want to be present for showings. And I said, well, let me ask you something. When you are shopping for a house and the seller's standing there staring at you, how does that make you feel? So,
Awkward.
yeah, so they, again, they have to be told what to do. And of course, you know, protect yourself when selling a home. I think what else I have in here. I talk about the eye finder. You know, I have, it's seller showing checklist. These are all made in Canva. There's a moving checklist of things to remember. A lot of people forget to look in their attic. A lot of people forget to
crawl
change their
space.
Amazon address too. I get a lot of those calls. And then I have a finding the top agent checklist. So if they're interviewing other agents, you know, does that agent have a closing coordinator? You know, if you're a brand new agent, you may not want to give them this, but if they're getting this from me, you're probably not going to win. So, you know, do they live within
She's not
20?
competitive at all.
Are they selling more than, like, when I refer people out of state, I tell my clients, I'm looking for an agent that's selling 20 to 30 homes a year because then I know that they are really in the mix of it. And so I'm finding agents to refer. I get a lot of referral business that way. I was showing a house and we were walking down the stairs. I'll never forget it. And she goes, yeah, my dad just passed away and I got to sell his house in the Hamptons. Where? The Hamptons. Oh, do you have an agent there yet? She's like, no. I was like, oh my gosh.
I can take care.
I know
for
how to
you.
find the top agent and I went and found this guy and the houses were taking like 6 to 10 months to sell. He sold it in like 30 days. Then he forgot to pay me.
Not nice.
He's like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, oh, you forgot to send me $10,000.
I didn't
So,
forget.
yeah.
Lindsay, I didn't forget.
Yeah, so I got $10,000 that month from that referral. It was a big house and it was an as is. It was like 1.6 million or something like that. And it was like,
Cheaper up there.
it was like a tear down or something.
Yeah.
But like this just talks about, do they have a full-time assistant? Do they have a contract to close assistant? Do they have appraiser on call? Do they have a title expert on call? This makes me look really good. And again, it's a lot of fluff. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's not very often that I've had the title, my closing attorney save about 3 deals over my 19 years from falling through from title issues.
And these are not people on payroll. These are just people that you partnered with. So again, it goes back to it matters who you partner with.
Do they email 22,000 local agents selling in the area? Do they market internationally as we do in the Keller Williams system?
Yes, we do.
And then I also offer free home warranties on the house during the listing period. This gets me a lot of business, believe it or not. And you guys have access to all of this.
Mhm.
I put 2 of them, you can even do 3, because if this one does not cover it, we go to plan B. And I tell them, these are not perfect, they're not great, but we're gonna try. So I got a hot water heater replaced and a microwave replaced within the last couple of months for 2 different clients. They thought I hung the moon. And they get all that information. And then I talk about appraisal adjustments too, just to kind of educate them. I'm thinking how an appraiser and how an agent's thinking when they're looking at making offers or pricing your house out.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think, well, that one down the street just sold. And well, that one had a 3-car garage and a finished basement and granite with stainless steel appliances. There's all adjustments for that. And then I had people that say, well, I have 5 acres. Yes, you do, but only a half an acre is actually usable. So the other 4.5 acres really don't carry as much weight as you might think. Now, if they had 5 acres that was completely cleared of trees and usable and level, then we're talking there's some value in that. So you really have to wake them up to think, no, yes, you have that,
Mhm.
but the appraisers and the agents are not gonna find value in that. Then I have I offer the home swap program. I even offer, like, I encourage my clients to move with pods. Because the ones that hire movers and are set to tight timelines, especially because last year I had 2 deals fall apart. One was the week of closing, the other was the day of closing.
And they moved out.
And they had already moved out, yeah, but these are really great because if timing is not perfect, they literally load their stuff in a pod. They can have it shipped off to somewhere like climates. I don't know if this one does climate control storage, but some of them do. They can have it shipped off and then say they have to go do an Airbnb for a week or 2, worst case scenario, then they call and say, hey, we got our new address. Can you deliver my pod on this day? And they recommend movers for them too. So this is a really great system to recommend to clients because it really takes that burden and that extra stress off of them. Because again, they have no clue. They need you to tell them. They need you to come with these resources. So just like your CPA, I'm sure they have resources and ideas for you, right? That you probably never even thought about. And then last year and this year, I've been a Zillow showcase agent just because my listings were sitting a little bit longer and I wanted to showcase them a little bit better. This is, can get a little pricey, but you can negotiate with them. If you need a contact for the Zillow showcase, you can let me know. I can recommend somebody. Actually, Zillow is really stepping up their game. You can actually talk to a live person now these days.
Right, it's not a bot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they never used to have a phone number. The
Mhm.
longest
Couldn't
time.
know anybody.
Could never. Yeah, and if you ever have issues with your listings not showing properly on GPS or Zillow showing old photos, like if I get a listing that another agent had, sometimes they merge all the photos together and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to email Georgia MLS to say, hey, Zillow is showing the wrong photos and the feed is not working properly. Could you please reach out to them? They have like a direct line to them.
They can help
and
you with
things will
that.
be changed like that. So you gotta kind of know
Yeah.
connections too. But you all can look through this too and take pictures of it if you want to. I have reviews in there. I lost a $1.2 million listing because she didn't think that I marketed to luxury buyers. I'm like, oh, the agent just made it sound much better than I did. So I added a page about luxury, even though my bread and butter really is under $1 million. So I really focus on that.
Mhm.
Everybody says, well, now that where you're at, like, why don't you just market to $1 million houses? I'm like, cause those really aren't my people.
Mhm.
My people are under $1 million because they listen to me, they take my guidance and they're coachable.
So true.
Then I put on here, my sales in 2022, 75 homes, 2023, 62 homes, which of course that's the year I went through a divorce. So I didn't work about 3 or 4 of those months. So, but I'm showing my production and I'm also showing kind of where I focus my attention because I tell people all the time, if you're interviewing other agents, make sure you go onto Zillow or Realtor.com and see where they're focusing their attention. Because I've many times have competed with agents that never sold one house in my county.
Mhm.
So this is something that could, help you.
Well, another thing I want to add to that is you point that out is that you're educating them. People are gonna do this for you. So where are you showing up? So if she's going to a listing appointment and she's one of 4 agents and they learn this, just know that.
Yeah.
You just
That's how
gotta,
I got one of them that's in my before and after book. The agents, there was 2 agents on a team and they had sold 2 houses in the last 365 days. And I told the daughter who was trying to get me the business, because she got referred from my past client, I said, tell your parents to go onto Zillow and look up their production and see if and look up my production and see where they should they stay with them or, cancel and go with me,
Mhm.
that's the listing had expired, it was off the market.
Mhm.
And so they weren't sure if they were gonna relist with them or list with me, and after they did that, they listed with me. And that's the one that's retired.
Any more questions and we'll wrap up.
Business.
Give them a copy of this when you send them.
Oh, yeah, they get a copy, yep.
Any other questions?
I have a question. What was your main lead generation that you did starting off?
Oh, is that online? Oh, I didn't know that was online. Is that God talking?
Haven't been talking. What's your main source of lead generation when you first got started?
Open houses, 100% open houses. I was doing them every single weekend to meet people because the best thing you can do is, create rapport with people in person. And when I used to teach open houses to my team of agents, they I had one that they walked in, they're like, well, this has hardwood floors. I'm like, no, shit. Tell them about the brand new roof. What are you doing? Like, come on. Tell them 3 things about the house that they can't see with their own eyes. And then show them about, hey, if you have a house to sell or anything, I have really good strategies for that. Because I know this is a tough market right now for people to be able to sell and buy at the same time, but I have been doing recasting for years and bridge loans for years. I've knocked the socks off of people at open houses. I got people to fire their buyer's agents and hire me because I taught them more in 5 minutes than their agent taught them in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I've also
That's
gone
very
out and showed
common.
houses, and they're like, we have only seen 3 houses in 2 months. You showed us 7 houses today. They're like, that's unheard of. I'm like, no, that's normal. So, lately I've been showing so many darn houses that, cause there's more,
Yeah, a lot of
more
more
inventory now. So I'm wearing black pants, black shirt and tennis shoes like Gary.
Here you go. Any other questions?
Yeah. What was his question? I don't think
Oh.
he answered, cause
Who? Oh,
I was gonna comment, listening here, how impressed, because I have a particular agent that's doing the same strategy you've got, and you're taking control of the listing. And the first thing he does, he goes and we get a property condition, we get the contract, we get the price, we get the work done, because everyone has home with at least $100,000 worth of equity. They may say they have no money, and that's all a lie. They have the equity, they just don't have someone like you walking and saying, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna take care of it and do it. He's the #1 agent, and I've called my agent for the last 2 years. He's done the most, he pays for the pre-inspection. He does it exactly like you do, and he doesn't have to do much work. Now they're calling him because I
Right.
can't answer the phone enough because I'm doing what you do, Lindsay, and it's perfect because you're playing the market the right way, because buyers can't buy something just a piece of crap. And I've been
Yeah.
saying for the last 3 years, getting inspection deals are dying because they're paying too much, their interest rates are too high, and there's too much work to be done, and they don't have the money. to
they're
do it.
terminating over the stupidest stuff. They
Yeah.
really are.
Hats off to you, fantastic.
But sellers don't know this. You have to tell them this and you have to make sure they believe you. And I'm very direct and stern when I speak because it's really important for them to understand that. Like people are terminating over the stupidest stuff and I want to make sure that I have your best foot forward and make sure your property is not stigmatized in the eyes of buyers and agents because you've lost a deal or two.
all right. Go ahead.
One last question. This has been great, honestly. I've learned so much. My question is, we happen to be in a season where buyers are looking for move-in ready homes to go. How do you get a seller who is fixated on remodeling and having the perfect home, not paying attention to the times and the seasons, to change their mindset?
As far as like doing too much.
It's like, yes, they're putting in so much.
Yeah, so I had one recently, that he did everything before I got there. So it was literally, he called me, he's like, I'm gonna have this house ready in 1 week, take pictures, I gotta get to Florida. We're gonna move out, you can stage it, we're out of here. I said, okay, so I show up and I said, and of course, I'm building them up and making them feel good about their house during my listing appointment, because I've gotten so many deals because the other agent came in and just ripped them a new one.
Told them everything that was wrong during.
Everything was wrong, was negative, tore them apart. I'm building them up, saying there's some things I think we need to probably do. I'll put that list together. If you decide to work with me, I'm gonna guide you on that. But this is great. I really love what you've done here. I think it's great. I think there's some things that we could do, but I think, You know, and then after they sign, I give them of course, I give them a range of price beforehand, but also I tell them that, you know, after they sign, then I say, here's some challenges. So for example, this one, he signed the listing agreement, went to the house, and I had seen the floors, didn't say anything, and I said, oh, it looks really great. So after he signed the listing agreement, I said, Ripen, we have a little bit of an issue that you're gonna have to overcome. But we're gonna overcome it, so don't stress too much. But people buying a $825,000 house, they expect to have real hardwoods, and you put LVP on the main level. That's gonna be an issue. He has a camera in the family room. He listened to everyone at the open house. He texts me, he says, you were right. They're all just hating the floors. I said, we're gonna find the right buyer. I'm not gonna expect you to change it. He's like, I should have asked you before I did it. So think about your price point. I fired an investor because they kept overspending, and then they lost money. And whose fault is it? It's always ours. And I fired them and told them I couldn't help them anymore because they're putting travertine tile in a $150,000 flip in chair rail. I don't think people buying this is back in the day, $150,000 house know what chair rail is.
Yeah, exactly.
Nor do they know what travertine tile is, you know? So you have to look at your price point and make the guidance on those things too. I use ChatGPT a lot when I'm on listing appointments and buyer appointments, because HVAC systems are not on the disclosure. I take a picture of the serial number on the HVAC systems. I've even climbed in the attic and taken them, throw it in a ChatGPT. It tells you everything you want to know about the systems. And then I also make, you know, I showed them, hey, here's what I think the shower could look like if we revamp it. And I actually have ChatGPT. I take pictures of the actual tile, you know, from like Floor and Decor.
Mhm.
And I say, make the floors this, make the walls this, and make the faucet this. And I show my client, here's what it's gonna look like. It's gonna cost about this much money. And they're like, oh, well, shoot, let's do it.
Use it as your partner.